Money mastery. How we went from riding bicycles, delivering drugs to old people, to New York City views. Here is why money is so important. It's like oxygen. You know, people who say money's not important, you might have heard that. You don't need money. Money's the root of evil. All these self-limiting beliefs that are actually very toxic and will actually repel your ability to make money. They either don't know how important money is, or they're rejecting it entirely and replacing it with a fake sense of virtue signaling. You need enough money where you don't have to think about it. But as soon as you don't have enough, it's like you can't breathe. You need to get some oxygen. That's how money works. It's a vital life force to live in any modern society today. You're not a monk on a mountain. You need it, and it is a tool to exchange things with. Principles of money. What is money? So we're going to be going over, initially in this first video, what is money and what is wealth, and detaching some of the emotions surrounding money and helping you guys understand some basic money foundation principles before we get into some of the more advanced things along this course. Money is simply an exchange, a medium of exchange. Before there was physical paper money, there were coins, there was bartering. I would trade my bottle or a good for a service, for example. Water didn't used to just come out of the tap readily. People would carry it in buckets and you would exchange services and goods for it. Money still holds that purpose. It is simply a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth. When numbers in your bank account are a storehold of wealth. This is all money is. You use it to exchange things and you use it to store your wealth to then use it. People think that money is, they feel better when they see a couple zeros in the account and they see it go up, 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 up. But you need to understand very clearly that money is only valuable once it is used. It's like energy. It has a potential, but only once it is used can it become useful and valuable. And that's why some people, wealthy people, they decide to use and spend almost all of their money into investments, into resources, into things. Because they don't see a purpose beyond a basic safety net to have just money sitting there. The point of money is to buy you options. Optionality in decision making. To do or not do something. The option to rent and live here or the option to rent and live here. The less money you have, the less availability and freedom to make decisions that you have. And we know how important this is because I remember how constricting and frustrating, and I know some of you still feel like this, and I have days like this too, because it just levels up. Like I still feel like this, but how constricting it can be to not have money, and you're like, fuck, I want to do that thing, but I can't afford it. It's a very, I don't know how you guys, some of you feel, but I get a frustrated emotion. I choose to feel this because then I transmute that into energy to help me become more useful in the world and make more money. But you see someone, for example, in this building is paying 15, 20,000 USD a month to live in the penthouse. Wait, 15, 20K live in the penthouse? Shit. He's on the 50th floor with the best views. Why aren't I there? Well, that's my fault. I'm not there because I'm not as useful to society yet to warrant spending, well, I'm not going to justify spending 15, 20,000 USD on renting. But he don't think about it. I've seen the people, a couple of Asian fellas, probably some young, rich millionaires perhaps. They are at the penthouse and they're probably not tripping about the price. They might be doing 100K months. And you might think, oh my God, what are you talking about 100K months? I make 100K in a year, barely. It's all a game. Money is a game. Money buys you options. You learn to play the game like you learn to play a game of chess, like you learn to play snakes and ladders. It's a game. The better you get at playing the game, the more useful you become, the more money you can acquire. I'm going to teach you how the foundations of the game are played, because you guys are either got lied to about the rules, you got tricked, lied to, or taught by people who were ignorant or didn't know what they were talking about, or you weren't taught at all. So I'm going to try and unveil the veil and show you behind the curtain to help you get to a version of where I'm getting to and beyond, and faster. So instead of being frustrated you can't go out to dinner, or you can't live here, or you can't do this, you can't fly business class, or you can't fly your mother or grandparent to come see you for their birthday or your birthday because Aunt Susie, she's too old to fly. I think that's some bullshit. I think if Aunt Susie was in first class, she would be just fine because she'd be comfortable, she could lie down, she would get great service, she would have space, she would have better quality food, she had a much better experience. And if that's not even possible, then fly in private. But now it's suddenly $10,000 an hour. I've looked into this. $10,000 per hour is now an hour outside of my budget and all of yours as well. But it's not for some people. They are just people. Jay-Z was once a drug dealer. Do you understand this? He was once a teenage drug dealer who should have been dead. Now he's a billionaire. Just like these people started off worse than us. Now I'm going to ask you all a question. When you think of money, what do you feel? So far we talked about, what do you feel when we talked about money so far? Like, I feel inspired. I feel energy. When I see a Aston Martin or a Ferrari, a Lamborghini roll past, I feel a mix of like competitive energy, fuck you energy, but also like I'm so inspired by you as well. It's like a competitive, like it's a good fuck you energy. If that makes sense to some of you. What do you feel? Do you feel tight in the chest? Do you feel like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. This makes me uncomfortable. Do you feel like, I don't even know where to begin? I feel overwhelmed. I feel like my parents fought about money and we didn't talk about it because it always caused arguments and stress. Or my parents lost a lot of money growing up. Empathy for that, because you've learned that about money. But just like if you got cheated on, or if you injured your knee playing sport, do you stop dating and do you stop playing sport entirely? Are you so fear-stricken that you don't even engage in the thing? No. You try and come back better and healthier and learn from it. So why don't we apply that to money instead of staying ignorant? Money has no emotional value. Think of it as a tool, like a key. It's emotionless, yet it could open the doors or lock them based on where and how it's used. Money is but a key to open opportunities. It has no emotional value. It's emotionless. And your emotional attachment is holding you back from acquiring more of it. Understand that. Next, money is time. Money is time. Every transaction we make is for some percentage of our lives. And this is quite transformative when you can conceptualize this. Every transaction we make is for a percentage of our lives. And our wealth is a measure of how little of our lives we must trade for the things we desire. How little or how much. Here's an example. Oh, let me keep going. Money, I'm just giving you different examples. Money is an IOU from society for future goods and services, which is translated as other people's time. 1 week of income for one person can buy them a Ferrari. Another, it takes 5 years. Okay. So money is time. If you make more money per hour, you have a higher leveraged ability to transact your time for money, for goods and services. So the goal is to become ultimately so valuable and so skilled that your time is worth so much that it gives you freedom to buy a lot for a little bit of your time. Buy a lot for a little bit. High leverage. Earning $20 or $30 an hour in retail hospitality is very low leverage. But I started there. And a lot of you got to start there. And then I'll show you what to do with that later on in future videos. And a lot of you have habits around money that you're quite careless with. You don't really think when you spend, you buy emotionally, you buy because it makes you feel better, you go to the shops or you start shopping online as a form of therapy, retail therapy. Go do actual therapy because it's much less expensive and costly. I say that with some annoyance, as you may have detected, because you'll see why in the example I'm about to give you. But because you're being so careless with money, or you have been, it's limiting you so much by taking instant gratification, dopamine. You just want the dopamine. Like, oh yeah, I want to buy this. I want to feel good. I want the status associated with the thing I'm buying, and it's costing your future self so much more. So anytime you buy something, ask yourself this question: how many hours would I have to work to purchase X? This bottle, $15. How many hours would I have to exchange of my time if I make $20 an hour? $15 an hour. That's 1 hour of my time. I have to buy this bottle. I'll give you some better examples. If you make $30 an hour, like the average wage, I believe, is somewhere in Australia around $30 an hour. In America, where I am, much, much less, but tips is what people survive on. It will cost you 4 hours of your life or work to go on that dinner date for $120. $120 dinner date going to cost you 4 hours of your time working $30 an hour. So right now, calculate your hourly rate. What's the average of what you pay yourself if you run your business, or what you make on average, including Sundays and week? Just take the average, okay? And then do this example for these examples. If you make $100 an hour, all right, bit better there, 3 times as much. It's going to cost you 5 hours of your work in your life to buy that $500 jacket that you wanted to get. 5 hours. So is 5 hours of your life worth that $500 jacket? And this blows out once you really when you make less than this, $50, $30 an hour, like many of you do. Most of you make less than $50 an hour. Can you imagine how many hours of your life you are trading for all of the clothing that you've purchased? I remember one of my mentees spending $6,000, and I hope he's watching this to continue learning, spending $6,000 approximately on clothing in, I might misremember, in a month or so, in a month or two. Now his hourly rate would be upwards of, towards 100. But that's still about 60 hours. 60 hours. So do the calculations and math for what your hourly rate is and some recent purchases that you've made. It could be a fridge, necessity. It could be, I'm looking at an air filter over there. It could be a camera. It could be a date. It could be drugs. It could be alcohol. The Uber Eats order. Calculate it. And every time you make a purchase, I would say above $100 or above $50, depends on your budget, above $50 to $100, ask yourself, how many hours do I have to trade? Let's go bigger. Let's say you make $1,000 an hour. I know that seems inconceivable to some of you, but I myself, I've put myself in many environments where in certain settings, whether it's an event, my mentorships, I have earned this. Okay, my mentor himself, I've done the math on him. He'll also earn thousands of dollars an hour, depending on the environment he puts himself in, Particularly group environments make it much more higher leverage to make this. So I understand what it's like to make $1,000 an hour, okay? And if I wanted my Aston Martin, which I greatly do because I love cars, it's going to cost me about 3,000 hours. But on average, I may not earn $1,000 an hour because I don't earn on average $1,000 an hour yet. Okay, that's my highest leveraged services are about that. But on average, it's less. So someone making $1,000 an hour, it's going to cost them 3,000 hours of their life to buy that Aston Martin DBS. Some of you are buying a $20,000 car though, and you're making, I'm going to do this math. You're going to buy a $20,000 car and you're making $45 an hour. That's 444 hours of your life. If you double the cost of that car to 50 grand, which is not inconceivable, suddenly, that's nearly 1,000 hours of your life and work to pay that off. Now, how much money is enough? So now money, you can relax, just a tool. Making more money doesn't mean you are morally or ethically better than someone else. Remember that? It's just a tool. It generally means you're more useful though. Generally. Because you can generally help more people at once and solve bigger problems. Jeff Bezos gets to be a billionaire because he made Amazon. Amazon services millions to tens of millions of people per day. He solves big problems. Thank you, Jeff, because I just got my Amazon order in 8 hours. Appreciate that. Bigger problems you can solve, the more money you can make, but how much money is enough? You know you have enough money when you're no longer worried about money. I don't have enough money because I'm still, I wouldn't say worried, I'm still driving and hungry to create more money. Because there's more things that I want to create and do in this world for my family, for my friends, for you guys. I don't really want to tell you the things I want to do for you guys, but I have some big, grandiose, exciting opportunities that I want to create for you guys, that the more money that I create, the more wealth I create, allows me just to do fun, adventurous, spontaneous, fun things for all of you, knowing that many of you won't get the opportunity. So I want to work to create that for you guys. So look, sounds altruistic right now. Let me show you in the future. You will see. Okay? So you know how you have enough money when you're no longer worried about money. Simple. But without it, you're going to be a slave or a employee. You're going to work for somebody. You're going to be at the behest of someone's control or word or authority. Running my own businesses, it seems glamorized. Oh, you run your own business. Everything must be great. Well, not everything. That's not actually how people think. But it sounds simple on the outset, but it's certainly not, because everything is on you. I can't chill. I don't relax. I also don't really need to, and I don't, I have those moments in my life, but like this gives me energy. I love doing this, but it's also very hard work, and it's not easy, and it's endless. So you can pick the game you want to play, but being a slave or being an employee to somebody can actually be very freeing. I don't want to discredit the 9 to 5. I think it's an incredibly important role that many of you are doing. I think there's nobility in it. I think the cogs of society do not move around without many of you. And I say this with the utmost sincerity and respect. I think what some of you do is actually more important or just as important from a societal level than what I do or what people like me do. Watching garbage men the other day pick up rubbish, as they call trash out here. They call it trash out here. They don't understand rubbish. Trash on the street at like 11 p.m. And I'm like, you should be a garbage man for a week just to get a taste of that lifestyle and what they have to put up with. So, but understand, if you want a high degree of money, that you're not as free if you're relying on someone to give you a paycheck. We noticed during 2020 to 2022 that the have and the have-nots were able to live very differently in those years, weren't they? People were taking private planes covertly that we had no idea about. whether they're government officials, politicians, celebrities. Your favorites were certainly still traveling and were beyond the law. How is this so? You can look up cases of this if you'd like, but how is this so? Because they had the money to solve the problem. They had money to pay people off, they had influence, they had the network, they knew people. While we were locked in our homes, a lot of them were free to travel. A lot of them had the foresight to leave their country or state and go to somewhere that didn't have XY restrictions of their freedoms and mobility, or that was safer for them and their family. That, personally, was a time that really gave me some fucking energy, because I'm like, you know what? If I had enough money, I would have just left this motherfucking state and gone to Barbados, or who was it? Sweden was open. No restrictions. So there are future times like this that are coming again. Whether it's civil unrest, whether it's war, whether it's economical turmoil, whether it's like Russia, Ukraine, US, China, Australia is not that far away from Taiwan. So there's things that can happen almost any time. Are you ready for them? No. As far as I've come, I'm kind of ready, but I'm not even fully ready. And just another reason to give you motivation to work and make money. So then next time those things happen, you can help you and your family get into a better position. And you can't, it's very hard, I'm going to say you can't, it's very hard to do that if you're relying on other people to keep your position and job. You just can't say as much. You can't express your opinion as freely. So when you have enough money, you can really express your opinion as freely as you like, and you don't have to hold back a lot of the things that you want to say or do in life. Because when you have to hold back, you suffocate a part of your expression, soul and heart and identity, and then resentment and ill feeling build. To finish off and conclude, wealth.